Welcome back to Shootie School. This video is a continuation from my last Understanding Time Signatures video in EZDrummer2. You should know that this tutorial will work 100% with Superior Drummer 3. The only difference is it has slightly different graphics. But also know these programs are not essential to learn about note durations in this video. If you're instead looking for a beginner's video on how to use EZDrummer2, I recommend watching my Easy Guide to EZDrummer2 video first, or you can go to my channel Shootie School for more EZDrummer2 tutorials. Let's get started. Fractions: 1/1, 2/2, 4/4, 8/8, 16/16, 32/32. These are not necessarily time signatures. These are simply fractions that equal 1, or a whole. We understand from my previous video that when 4/4 is our time signature, we count to 4 over and over, which is the quarter note. 4/4 is also known as common time. Here's an American tape measure. Let's examine the lines at the 16th inch and acknowledge that they are identical to the song track ruler's hash marks depending on how far you've zoomed in. From the full black line at the 16th inch to the next full black line is 1 inch, or in this analogy, 1 measure, like on the EZDrummer2 ruler. There's a note value that can fill this whole measure called a whole note. We won't be covering it today, but acknowledge a whole note covers a whole measure of 4/4. In the middle of this inch, we see a second tallest line, the half inch, or as I zoom in slightly in EZDrummer2, the half note. There are 2 half inches to an inch and 2 half notes to a measure. We're not covering half notes either in this video, but it's good information to acknowledge. A half note fills half a measure. I hope you're following the matching measurement terminology. If we look at the next tallest lines and combine them with the aforementioned lines, we see the inch divide up into 4 sections called quarter inches. This is where our metronome sounds off when playing in the 4/4 time signature on the quarter notes, as you can see in the hash marks of the song track ruler. 4 quarter notes equals 1 measure of 4/4 because 4 times 1 quarter equals 1 whole. We're solving really basic fraction math at this point. Not coincidentally at all, as I zoom more into the song track ruler and look at the next set of lines on the tape measure, we now divide the inch into 8 eighth inches, just like 8 eighth notes fills up a measure. And lastly, on this section of tape measure, viewing all of the lines within the inch, we have 16 lines total, which are 16ths of an inch, just like it takes 16 16th notes to fill a measure. Some tape measures, when you look at the first foot or so, will divide the inch one more time into 30 seconds. And as you can see here in EZDrummer2, when I zoom in as far as possible, I have access to 30-second note hash marks. Meaning not only do 32 30-second notes equal 1 measure, but that is the limit in which we can edit in EZDrummer2. Consider this tape measure an entire EZDrummer2 project, no different than the song track in EZDrummer2. Straight note durations, which we just talked about, are the most common. They're simple ways of adding up different basic fractions together to equal a whole measure. Not always, but that's what we're going to do here at a beginner's level. If I take 2 quarter inches and add them to 4 eighth inches, I have 1 inch. Just like if I add 2 quarter notes and add them to 4 eighth notes, I would have 1 measure in EZDrummer2. This is really no different than adding simple measurements together to equal 1 inch. If you understand how to read a tape measure or ruler, you already understand the basics of note durations in music. And if that's not the case, hang in there. You use fractions every day, all of the time, instinctively. I might take 5 scoops of coffee grains to make 1 pot of coffee. It takes me 12 gallons of gas to fill up my gas tank. It takes 4 quarters to equal $1. 1 pizza is cut into 6 slices, or a sandwich is cut in halves, and so on. This will be intuitive. If it's not, by the end of this video, take a break, decompress your noodle, and watch this video again. Let's get into it further. Let me open up Tap2Find, which is covered in detail in its own video on my channel. Also take note that Tap2Find records 2 measures or bars at a time, so we'll be counting 2 measure long loops, not 1. In my previous time signature video, which hopefully you just watched, I was describing how the numbers we count have a different feel. Well, let me record a kick drum on beat 1 and 3. And now let me record a snare on the 2 and 4. This sounds like a simple beat you've heard a million times in your life. We are hearing a drum being played on every quarter note of this measure. If I drag it into the song track, we see the quarter note hash marks line up with the little MIDI dots. And here is something I've said to a drummer a million times. Dude, stop shredding and just play the snare on the 2 and 4 so this part of the song feels solid, also known as the backbeat. And then, assuming this drummer is on the same page as me, we instantly produce that section of the song with only a 1-sentence long request. That's how important knowing how to communicate not only with yourself in EZDrummer 2, but with other people is. Because you will be working with other people as you take your passion or career further, right? What if I wanted it to seem like we were playing twice as slow for a section of a song? In the metal world, known as a breakdown. Not exactly for James Brown though. We don't change the tempo of the song. Not in this case, at least. We change the note duration. Or add rests if you want to describe it another way. I'll clear this beat. I'll record the snare only on beat 3 and record the kick only on beat 1. This is the exact same beat we just heard, except we doubled the note durations to what are called half notes, which you don't need to understand a half note right now. I'm focused on quarter, eighth, and 16th notes in this video. When I mention note durations, I'm talking about how long until the next note is heard from the previous. This is the same beat we heard a minute ago, at the same tempo, perceived as twice as slow. It's called half-time feel. Look at it on the ruler in the song track. I might say, "Drummer dude, only play the snare on the 3. And instantly, the feel of the song completely changes. This is how easy it is to communicate your ideas with EZDrummer 2 or your drummer and get instant results producing your music as long as you know basic fractions, or where the quarter note is in a measure, or where a quarter inch is on a tape measure. These last 2 examples are extremely popular and powerful. Real quick, if I tap the same beat out as eighth notes instead of half notes or quarter notes, like this, now we have what is commonly called double time feel. These are so popular and useful. If you look on the browser or search tab in EZDrummer 2, you'll see the tempo drop-down menu that will instantly apply half-time or double-time feel to your MIDI files, which is covered in my advanced browser video. And this is also a realistic example of how those features manipulate your MIDI files. This is popular stuff, folks. Do not ignore this when working in EZDrummer 2. As we can see in our song track, we have the half-time feel, regular time, and double time feel. The tempo of the song is the same. The note durations, which control the feel, are different. If you stick your face right up to the screen, you can see the tiny MIDI dots reflect this lesson so far accordingly. Let me get our regular time beat going again. Don't forget, we are working in a 2-measure loop, which has 8 quarter notes. So I can count to 4 twice before the loop, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I might say, "Hey drummer, play a cymbal on beat 1 of the first measure." Cool. And then I'll say, "Hey drummer, hit the toms on beat 4 of the second measure." Very cool. Now, "Hey drummer, fill out the rest of the beat with quarter note hi-hats." Maybe I want open hats so we can hear it better. Now we have a basic stock beat with quarter notes. It sounds generic, but at this point, the drummer knows the feel and can take your producing notes further. At the least, understand what we've covered so far before leaving. If you can't give or take direction on a level like this, you're going to be difficult to collaborate with as you pursue your musical endeavors. We know how to count because you watched my previous time signature video, right? And with that, we can analyze that the cymbal is playing on the 1 of the first measure. The toms are playing on the 4 of the second measure. And the hi-hat is playing all of the quarter notes in between those hits. That's what the power hand or the drummer's dominant hand is playing. And for the rest of the beat, the kick is on beats 1 and 3 throughout, and the snare is on the 2 and 4. That's our quarter note based drum beat. I'll remove the cymbals and the toms, and make every quarter note play on the hi-hat. I like to call this a basic 2-4 beat, because the snare lands on the 2 and the 4. Hi-hats that only count quarter notes are stale to me. That's a case-sensitive comment though. I want a less rigid beat, or to perceive a weight differently on the snare. For me, doubling the hi-hat makes the snare more fluid in the beat to hear. I bob my head more comfortably to it as well. But doubling the hi-hat means we're not playing quarter notes in the measure anymore. And here is the simple math. Playing the hi-hat 4 times in a measure means the hi-hats are quarter notes. If I want the hi-hat to play twice as fast, I need them to play as 8th notes, meaning in one measure of 4/4, I will hear 8 notes. Just like 4 quarter inches fit into an inch, 8 1/8 inches fit into an inch as well. These are completely compatible things to do since they all equal a single measure. Hey drummer, I want this part to flow more. Change the hi-hats to 8th notes. And instantly, this song goes from sounding stiff to smooth, and so does the feel of my head bobbing. This is really important stuff. This is the foundation of my communication to myself and when working with others. But we don't count to 8 now that we have 8th notes. We still only count to 4 because our time signature is still 4/4, not 8/8. The time signature 8/8 does exist, but it's not common. Only count to 4 when working in 4/4. In my last time signature video, we mostly counted to 4 and only really discussed quarter notes. So how do we count 8th notes while working in the time signature of 4/4? It's simple, and this is generally how the rest of the world is doing it, so you may want to as well. You add the syllable "an" in between the numbers you count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... I've just counted 8th notes by counting to 4 and adding the extra syllable "an" in between the numbers I was counting. What I just counted is what the hi-hat is playing. But this beat needs some help, and I need to ask my drummer to fix it. After the second kick in the measure, I want a third kick drum to hit before the measure ends. I need this beat to drive even more. I want this kick to be in between the beats of 3 and 4, but not on those beats. And as we've recently counted 8 notes out loud, we know to add the syllable "an" in between the numbers we count. Hey drummer, I need a kick drum on the "and" of beat 3. And while the drummer counts past beat 3, he would wait until the syllable "an" while counting 8th notes and perform another kick drum hit like this. And as you can hear, this is a beat you've heard all of your life. Not only that, it's a great simple beat that could make your music better. I'll add it to the second measure as well. If I want to count with the metronome 1 through 4 like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then only count the kick drum hits, it would sound like this. 1, 3 and, 1, 3 and, 1, 3 and. Let me alternate that counting for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3 and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3 and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3 and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. This would be an extremely accurate way to tell EZDrummer 2 or your drummer where to play the kick drums. If you don't know how to count or understand basic note durations, you might be playing around for minutes or hours trying to get the ideas in your head applied to your drums or communicating to your drummer. Before leaving this example, let's confirm that we have 8th note hi-hats and 1/8 note kick per measure on the and of 3. Yet while we hear these 8th notes, we still only count to 4 because our time signature is 4/4. And when we want to pinpoint where to place a note that's not on one of the quarter notes we're counting, we use the syllable and. Our kick drum is on the and of 3. And a side note of my preference, when I'm counting, I use the syllable and. When I'm describing specifically where to hit a note, I say and. Do whatever makes sense to you. I think either will work in the real world. In any case, no problem. Let me clear this. Now that we've had quarter and 8th note examples, let's move up to 16th notes. The math in theory is the same. In 4/4, there are twice as many 8th notes than quarter notes. So in 4/4, there are 4 times as many 16th notes than quarter notes. That means 16 16th notes can be played in a measure. We are working with 2 measures here in the tap to find window, so we could have a total of 32 16th notes if we wished. It's typical in metal music that the drummer might roll 16th notes on the kick drum. I will write this beat starting with the kick so you can hear this monotonous kick drum start to be accompanied by other instruments on the kit and eventually turn into something creative. While counting to 4 with the metronome, I will evenly play 16 kick drum hits. I'll slow the tempo to 60% for now, a great tap to find feature for tapping to quick tempos. We hear the metronome counting 4 quarter notes per measure, but how do we count these 16th notes so we can communicate them to EZDrummer or the drummer we're working with? Like the 8th notes, we still count to 4, but add extra syllables so we're speaking 16 rhythmic syllables while counting to 4. Like this. 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN, 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. Notice that when I say the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 while saying this new rhythmic phrase, those numbers line up with the metronome sounds. 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN, 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. This is how you count and communicate 16th notes, and I'll give a more accurate example in a minute. Let's add a snare on the 2 and 4 as we've done before. It's starting to sound musical now, right? Let's add a cymbal on beat 1 and fill out the rest of the beat with 8th note hi-hats. Now we have a complete, yet typical drum beat. If I wasn't making this video for you, this would have been done in seconds because I know what note durations sound like in my head before I play them. This would be a productive goal for you. Understanding how to count and the length of different notes will have you getting what's in your head out of there in seconds because you're learning the language of the art you want to communicate with. Here's an advanced way to communicate what we just learned. Let's make our basic beat sound customized. Remember how we counted 16th notes? 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. Hey drummer, I want a snare hit on the of 4. The drummer will play through the measure, and after he counts the number 4, he will add an extra snare hit on the syllable, like this. Now we hear yet another rhythm we've probably been hearing our whole life, and hopefully we now know how to identify it, communicate it, and perform it. Before we move on, let's count these individual instruments out. The kick drum. 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN, 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. The cymbal and hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The snare. At first the snare was just on 2 and 4, like this. 2, 4, 2, 4. Now we've added that extra 16th note rhythm like this. 2, 4, 2, 4. I'll stop. If you see a sequence or pattern happening of how quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes relate to each other in the time signature of 4/4, you might guess 30-second notes are the same. They divide a measure of 4/4 into 32 notes. I personally don't count 30-second notes, and if I had to, I would simply count 16th notes twice as fast as a crutch, which is why I'm not going to teach them to you. If you need to learn how to count 30-second notes or program them, this video probably isn't for you in the first place. You are way ahead of this. And if you're ready for 30-second notes and understand all I've said this far, you already understand the theory. You divide the measure 32 times, and they are perceived as being twice as fast as 16th notes. And if you zoom into the song track of EZDrummer 2 as far as you can, you will reveal 30-second notes with the hash marks on the ruler, meaning this is the highest note resolution that EZDrummer 2 is capable of editing and quantizing to. Before the end of this video, you should acknowledge that when quantizing in EZDrummer 2, which is demonstrated in my other videos, that the options to quantize all relate to the note durations we've been talking about. I've only spent a moment saying this about quantizing, but you should acknowledge it before moving on because quantizing is a huge feature and workflow of EZDrummer 2. If you don't understand note duration, how we've been counting, then you are probably just toying with the quantize feature and not quickly executing it properly. And if we notice in the quantize menu, we have these extra note durations called triplets, and since they're a completely different animal, I will cover them in the next video. Editing and quantizing is covered in detail in my other videos on my channel. If you've ever trusted anything I've said on my YouTube channel, then trust this. Timing is everything. You need to consciously count until your body subliminally takes over and feels counting for you. Like any good or bad habit that doesn't require conscious thought, you just perceive it subliminally. You will not discover a natural feel or pocket until you achieve what's called an inner clock. So count endlessly with music until the need to count fades away and it becomes second nature. For me, I find myself counting out loud in my head in highly challenging situations in which I'm very grateful I know how to count to music. Otherwise, at this point, my body understands where I am in music, inside individual measures at all times without a conscious thought, in which my art can flow over a canvas with control but no limitations. I think you should try to achieve this standard for yourself. And if you have big dreams and aspirations with your endeavors, I encourage you to continue the journey and take it further than I have. Stay tuned for triplets in my next video. I also have a counting exercise video, which you can check out and count with before or after watching my next triplets video, depending on your comfort level at this point. I'm also working on a MIDI Elements free download, which will not only help you work with what we're talking about here, but give you just the working elements of beats, so you can create or manipulate beats quickly and not rely on stock libraries or settle for less than what's in your head. Keep your ears open for the keyword elements on my YouTube channel or website. If you learned something today, please like and subscribe. I love to read comments below to know that people are getting it, and corrections are welcome as well. If you're still motivated, proceed to my next triplets video in this mini-series that's within my Advanced with EZDrummer 2 series, or check out my counting video and get what we just covered down first before moving on. Have you been plowing through my videos back to back in your spare time? Have you learned anything? Have you been at least filling in some empty tiny cracks of knowledge that have helped you with what you already knew? I hope so, because me knowing this stuff makes me feel confident when creating for myself or for a client. Feeling comfortable and confident doing what you love is really an amazing handshake. Put the work in now. Know this stuff well, so in the future when you look back, you will be grateful and thank yourself. Rock on.